What's up, everybody? Hygger Hybrid. Got something to show you guys today. It is the Spider Farmer SE1000W series LED bar light. I think this thing's insane. Let's crack it open. I'm going to save you from the formalities. I've unboxed and assembled plenty of these on the channel, so if you are curious about how to assemble them, check back at the other videos and that information is there. The SE1000 watt W series. There's a picture of the spectrums for you. Lots of blues, lots of reds. The Kelvin of the bulbs. So you got 660 nanometers, 32 to 42K, 4800 to 5000K, and 4.351 amps running at 230 volt. The recommended flower space is 5 feet by 5 feet. Commercial flower 4 feet by 4 feet. I think that this specific light can handle, especially on a light mover, probably like a 10 foot by 6, 10 foot by 6 or 10 foot by 8 foot canopy, as long as it's on a light mover. Stationary, it could easily handle like 8 feet by 6 feet. The diodes are LM301Bs. This is the 2022 edition. Check out this ballast, guys. This thing is just heavy. So it is a Model SS 1000 VP56BH ballast, IP67 rating. If you're stepping up your LED game to something like this, you're going to want to run 240 volts no matter what, especially if you're running more than one of them. In my other room, I do have 240 volts, but that is set up with the SE7000 series, which is running 240, but I'm not going to dismantle that room to turn this light on. But this is just an absolute beast. I mean, this thing is heavy. This has got to weigh at least 10 pounds. So coming over here to the controls, you can see the audible click off, and then minimum. And it's got channel 1, channel 2. These are how you daisy chain the lights together. And this is how you disable the dimming functions between the lights. So you could just have full throttle, or you could have all your lights dimmed and just use this controller right here. I do like the new audible clicks. 20% increments, 20, 40, 60, 80, and max. Communication cables for dimming and daisy chaining the lights. You have your carabiners with your bridle cables. You also have your ratcheting yo-yo straps. You have the hardware to attach to your ballast, which I just fumbled on the floor, and I still don't know what these are, and I can't figure it out. We're getting close though. We have the hardware to assemble the light rail to the light bars. It's a commercial light. Now we're going to assemble this light real quick. Let's see what it looks like. Took all about like 2 minutes. All right, let's look under the hood. Now I don't have a proper place to plug that ballast in. Not here, I don't, because it requires 240 volt circuits. 240 volts, yes. I wonder if this thing actually pulls 1,000 watts. So this is 1,000 watts right there. Hope y'all can see that. 1,000 watt. The SE7000 consumes 730 watts, so slightly over 25%. You're stepping up your game. Also, you're actually increasing the amount of light on the edges. Now the SE7000, the bars are more evenly spread out. On this specific light here, you get more light integrated towards the edge of the perimeter of the fixture itself. 4.351 amps, 230 volts, 50-60 hertz, Samsung diodes. Again, that's the LM301B diodes. You can hang it 16 inches, you can within a foot, but if they're small, you're gonna want to dim that down. It takes a while for the plant to become acclimated to LEDs. So if you're gonna grow LEDs, make sure you're growing LEDs from start to finish. If you're transitioning from a metal halide in veg, or T5s or T8s in veg, or high pressure sodium, any of those HID lightings or incandescent or fluorescent tubes, it's gonna put a damper on your transitioning time between vegetation and flowering, because most people will have a really nice expensive light for flowering. They don't see the other side of the spectrum, which is in veg they're running a very, very cheap light setup, and it's inefficient. And then everything looks big and beautiful, and then they transition everything from a vegetative light system that is not LED into an LED flowering setup. And all of a sudden, when they're transitioning into flower, they have just a bunch of problems. That's because your plants are not acclimated to LED. That is a big thing that I could throw out there. I'd say that's one of the most common problems that everybody has if they're running perpetuals and they have an alternative, vegetative area. They're just typically, in most situations, they're not running LED in their vegetative garden. And transitioning to flower, they have a bunch of problems. That's kind of the problem that I run into the most with consultations and people running LEDs is they go from veg to flower, and a majority of the reason is in veg, they're just using some cheap lights that are not LED. And then all of a sudden they have this really badass, expensive Spider Farmer LED light in, flower, which is fantastic. Start with LED in veg and finish with LED in flower, and you'll have a flawless grow from start to finish, even on the edges of the light. So you can see in the middle, they're spread out, and then you get here towards the ends right here, and you'll see that they're closer together, and it's just on the ends within this channeling right here. On the sides, you just have two bars closer together, and that gives you the same effects. You're going to get way more consistent yields between the center, the edges, and around the whole perimeter of the fixture. By the way, I've noticed, like right off the bat, that this cable here is much larger than the SE7000. So this is 12 AUG. Okay, that's a 12 gauge wire. That's 20 amps right there. That's rated for 20 amps. Nothing compares to an LED fixture. And that's saying a lot because I've been growing since roughly 1995. And my first hydroponic kit was actually one of those Emily's Garden that they sold in one of those like pamphlets that they would mail to your house from I think it was a Hydro Farm. I think it might have been like Hydro Farm and General Hydroponics mixed in with like Cannabis Magazine or something like that. Somehow I would get these pamphlets, and one day I just had some extra money, and I bought one, and I ran my first hydroponic system, and it was actually one of those air pump drip systems, and it had a drip ring around it, and I had put 3 plants there, and boy, I had a great time with that thing. I learned a lot, and I was very young. I was like 15 years old. So, taking that into those experiences into considerations, and the equipment and the bulbs that we used to use between then and now to hit 1 gram per watt running HID. If I hit 1 gram per watt, I was like, yay, Nothing could be better than that. If you're hitting anything lower than half a gram per watt on HID, then just forget about it. Stop growing. It's not even worth your time. So those were the margins. Anything above a half a gram per watt, and if you're running 1,000 watts and you're only yielding, roughly just over a pound, that kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Especially when you put multiple months into this project. So being able to have a light fixture that you don't have to change any light bulbs, that is dimmable, is completely capable of stomping any HID light in the market. There is no more comparison. If you're still running HID lights, you are living in the past and holding on to something that you really should probably just ditch. There's nothing else that you need to purchase. You don't need to purchase a dimming kit. It comes with everything that you need. Everything is here, okay? You don't need anything else. Look no further. If you're looking for the baddest LED on the market that can perform and hang with a $2,500 light, a $3,000 light, this is it right here. This is the most commercialized LED light fixture that you're gonna find at this price point that could actually deliver 3 grams per watt. Put this thing on a 12-foot wall, or even a 10 to 12-foot wall, give me 6 feet of depth, and just let it sit there. I'll hit 3 grams per watt stationary. Because I already did it with the SE7000. If you want to go ahead and do the math on the parameters of the light being dimmed from start to finish, you can do that. I guarantee it puts me over 3 grams per watt. But putting this thing on a light mover on a 12-foot wall, and you're filling up the whole wall, you're absolutely going to hit over 3 grams per watt. And that's what the conversation that I was having with a few folks in that grow, putting this thing, and I still get emails about it. Everybody wants to see this light on a light mover. Well, we can do that in the future, but right now we're running. Everybody wanted to see me go DWC. I asked everybody, what do you guys want to see? DWC. Well, I'm not going to tear apart a whole room. I'm not going to build a whole an elaborate DWC system for one grow, but I will absolutely set 110 up with a homemade DWC system. Those were the 2 main requests. Build a DIY DWC system, and they want to see what a Spider Farmer light can do in DWC, and I'm providing that content right here on the channel. Click the description of the video. Go ahead and if you're looking for additional information, what kind of gear I run, where I buy my gear, and looking for discount codes, so you can purchase this specific equipment cheaper. Those discount codes are in the description of every single video, so don't forget to click that. All right, guys. I think running this one on, I'm going to say the 1000W, I could hit 4 grams per watt with a light rail on a 12-foot wall with 6-foot depth. So 6 times 12 with 1 light on a light mover. I'm pretty sure, I'm actually damn near positive. I haven't done it on camera, but I'm positive that I could hit 4 grams per watt. I hit 3 grams per watt with a stationary Spider Farmer SE7000. So with no light mover. So 4 watts is completely doable. And I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that have already done it and know exactly where I'm coming from. So if you haven't given LEDs a shot, I suggest that maybe just purchase one going into it as, just for fun, type thing. When I entered the whole Spider Farmer LED and HLG stuff, I entered it as like, okay, this is just going to be fun and novelty experience. This is going to be another crash and burn test, just like before. We all know how that went. They were 10 years ago, 12 years ago, those LEDs were absolutely horrible. They cost me so much money, like thousands and thousands of dollars. And I know that the LEDs were, some of the LEDs were gifted to the channel. Thank goodness I didn't have to pay for them and take a negative loss on my crops. But they just cost me so much money, so much time, so much wasted energy. But LEDs are not like that anymore. They are completely king of the jungle when it comes to growing your own dope. All right, guys, High-Grow Hybrid. I'm curious to hear the feedback from all this. I'll catch you in the next one.